A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama barakta ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. रब शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा या मुक़ल्लिबुल क़ुलूब सब्बित क़ल्बी अला दीनिक आमीन. Today we will do the fourth part of Surah Tawbah, in which we will do from verse number 43 till 63. Afallahu an kalima azinat lahum hatta yatabayyana lakal ladina sadaku wa ta'lamal kazibin. 43. Allah has forgiven you. Why did you exempt them before the true ones became manifest before you, and you became aware of the liars? Now verse number 44. لا يستأذنك الذين يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر أن يجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم والله عليم بالمتقين. Those who believe in Allah and the last day will not request you for the exemption from striving with their wealth and lives in Allah's path. Allah is well aware of those who possesses taqwa. 45. إنما يستأذنك الذين لا يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وارتابت قلوبهم فهم في ريبهم يترددون. Only those who do not believe in Allah nor in the last day will request you for exemption. Their hearts feel doubts, so they will remain wavering in their doubts. Verse number 46. وَلَوْ أَرَادُوا الْخُرُوجَ لَأَعَدُّوا لَهُ عُدَّةً وَلَكِنْ كَرِهَ اللَّهُ بِعَثَاهُمْ فَثَبَّتْهُمْ وَقِيلَ اقْعُدُوا مَعَ الْقَاعِدِينَ. If they intended to proceed with you, they would have surely made some preparations. But Allah disliked them to proceed, so He withheld them, and they were told, remain with those who remain behind. Verse number 47. لو خرجوا فيكم ما زادوكم إلا خبالا ولا أوزاءوا خلالكم يبغونكم الفتنة وفيكم سماؤون لهم والله عليم بالظالمين. Had they proceeded with you, they would have only added strife, and would have harried to and fro among you, seeking to cause anarchy among you. There are their spices. Allah is well aware of the oppressors. Verse number 48. لَقَدِ ابْتَغَوْا فِتْنَةً مِنْ قَبْلُ وَقَلَّبُوا لَكَ الْأَمُورَ حَتَّى جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَظَهَرَ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ وَهُمْ كَارِهُونَ. Indeed, they sought to cause anarchy from before and used to overturn matters for you until the truth arrived, and Allah's order appeared to their dismay. Verse number 49. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ زَنْلِي وَلَا تَفْتِنِي أَلَا فِي الْفِتْنَةِ سَقُوتُ وَإِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ لَمُحِيطَةٌ بِالْكَافِرِينَ. Of them is he who says, exempt me and do not expose me to strife. Behold, in strife did he slump. Verily, Jahannam shall surround the disbelievers. The Munafiqeen presented all sorts of false causes before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he accepted all of these, exempting them from participating. Allah chides his Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for this by saying, Allah has forgiven you. Why did you exempt them before the true ones become manifest before you, and you become aware of the liars? This was the perfect opportunity to distinguish the truth from the false. Hazrat Ammar bin Maimun Rahimullah has mentioned that Allah chided Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for two things because he did something not commanded by Allah. The one was where he exempted the munafiqeen from participating in Tabuk, and the other was when he accepted the suggestion to release the prisoners of Badr in exchange for ransom. Narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 2, page 297. The author of Ruhul Mani writes that the reprimand of Allah was for opting for something that was not the best solution. It would have been best for him to postpone the decision until Allah revealed a command about it. Those who believe in Allah and the last day will not request you for exemption from striving with their wealth and lives in Allah's path. Allah is well aware of those who possesses taqwa. Only those who do not believe in Allah nor in the last day will request you for exemption. Their hearts feel doubts, so they will remain varying in their doubts. They doubt whether to participate or not. At times they thought that if they participated, then it would be best because their secret hypocrisy would not be exposed. At other times, they thought that it would be best to stay behind so that they would not be exposed to the difficulties and hazards of the journey. Ruhul Mani reports from Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas ta'ala anhu that this verse was revealed with regard to those munafiqeen who presented excuses to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam so that they may be excused from participating. They were 39 in numbers. Next, Allah emphasizes that these munafiqeen never intended to proceed with the Muslims because if they intended to proceed with you, they would have surely made some preparations. However, Allah never ordained that they should participate. Allah says, but Allah disliked them to proceed. So He withheld them and they were told, remain with those who remain behind. That is, it was their fate that they should remain with the sickly, the aged and the paralyzed people in Medina. Thereafter, Allah says that their non participation was in fact best for the Muslims because had they proceeded with you, they would have only added strife and would have harried to and fro among you, seeking to cause anarchy. They would have attempted to cause dispute between the Muslims, to spread false rumors and to scare the Muslims with the false accounts of the enemy's number and strength. Among you there are their species. Allah is well aware of the oppressors. These were those munafiqeen who joined the expedition for the purpose of spying on the Muslims. But Allah was well aware of them and shall punish them for their evils. Recounting their previous crimes, Allah says, indeed they sought to cause anarchy from before. When a large group of them returned from the battle of Uhud, furthermore, they used to overturn matters for you. This was all to harm Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims. However, they were compelled to desist when the truth arrived and Allah's order appeared to their dismay. Allah comforts Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by telling him that the munafiqeen always try to harm him, but Allah was always there to protect him. In future, the same shall prevail because Allah shall always be there for him. In the next verse, Allah describes one of the munafiqeen. Allah says, of them is he who says, exempt me and do not expose me to strife. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 2, page 299, reports that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked a person by the name of Jad bin Qais to participate, he said, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have a great love for women and I cannot control myself when I see them. If I have to see the beautiful, fair Roman woman, I fear that I will be besides myself. exempt me and do not expose me to strife. I will assist the expedition financially. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas ta'ala reports that this person's only excuse was his hypocrisy. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, however, granted him permission, whereafter Allah revealed the verse, "Behold, in strife did he slump? He has fallen into the worst of strife by adopting kufr and hypocrisy. Verily, Jahannam shall surround the disbelievers. This will be the punishment for their behavior." Now, verse number 50, 51, and 52, three more verses. In tusibka hasanatan tasubhum wa in tusibka musibatan yaqulu qad akhadna amrana min qablu wa yatawallaw wa hum farihun. If any good comes your way, it displeases them. However, when any calamity befalls you, they say, "We have already taken control over our affairs from before." They then turn away gloating. قُلْ لَا يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Tell them only what Allah had ordained for us will affect us. He is our protecting friend, and the believers should only trust in Him. قُلْ هَلْ تَرَبَّصُونَ بِنَا إِلَّا إِحْدَى الْحُسْنَيْنِ وَنَحْنُ نَتَرَبَّصُ بِكُمْ أَنْ يُصِيبَكُمُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِهِ أَوْ بِأَيْدِينَا وَتَرَبَّصُوا إِنَّا مَعَكُمْ مُتَرَبِّصُونَ. 52. Tell them, do you await only that one of two good things come our way? We are waiting for Allah to afflict you with a punishment from Himself or by our hands. So wait, indeed we are waiting with you. Allah tells Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that although the munafiqeen seems to be cordial with the mu'mineen, they conceal great malice for them. Their inner condition is such that if any good comes your way, it displeases them. However, when any calamity befalls you, they say, "We have already taken control over our affairs from before." They then turn away, gloating. They boast of the fact that they were prudent enough not to join the Muslims. A true mu'min, on the other hand, will remain with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through every condition. Ruhul Mani, volume 10, page 114, reports from Abi Adi Hasim the narration of Hazrat Jabir Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, in which he says that those Munafiqeen who remained behind in Medina told the other people, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions have subjected themselves to great difficulty. They have undertaken a most torturous journey and will be destroyed. When they heard that the Muslims were returning safely, they were extremely upset, and the above verse was revealed with regard to this. Tell them, only what Allah had ordained for us will affect us. All situations are from Allah, and none can escape these. However, He is our protecting friend. For this reason, the mu'mineen are content with Allah's decree. Allah will place some good in His every decree for the Muslims, even if it seems bad. His rewards for bearing difficulties are tremendous indeed, and the believers should trust only in Him. They should entrust all their affairs to Allah and always expect the best from Him. Although adopting means is necessary and allowed by the Sharia, a mu'min should never place his trust in these. Despite possessing the means, he should always pin his trust in Allah. Tell them, do you only await that one of two good things come our way? A person is either affected by good or by adverse conditions. However, for the moment, both of these are good because he anticipates the immense rewards of Allah when he endures and adverse conditions. Even when the mu'mineen are martyred in battle, it is best for them because they shall acquire the everlasting bliss of Jannah. The munafiqeen should be made to understand that just as they are eager for evil to befall the Muslims, we are waiting for Allah to afflict you with the punishment from Himself or by our hands. So wait. Indeed, we are waiting with you. It shall be revealed in the hereafter. If not sooner, you will be successful. Verse number 53. Kul anfiku tawan aw karhan lan yatakabbala minkum innakum kuntum qauman fasikin. Say, spend happily or reluctantly, it will never be accepted from you. Indeed, you were a disobedient people. وما منعهم أن تقبل منهم نفقاتهم إلا أنهم كفروا بالله وبرسوله ولا يأتون الصلاة إلا وهم كسالى ولا ينفقون إلا وهم كارهون. The only thing that barred their spending from being accepted was that they disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. They performed their salah lazily and spent only reluctantly in charity. Verse number 55. وَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُمْ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ بِهَا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَتَزْهَقَ أَنفُسُهُمْ وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. So do not let their wealth and their children impress you. Allah intends to punish them with these in this worldly life, and that their souls depart while they are the disbelievers. Verse number 56. وَيَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُمْ لَمِنْكُمْ وَمَا هُمْ مِنْكُمْ وَلَكِنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ يَفْرَقُونَ. They swear by Allah that they are definitely with you. They are not with you, but they are a people in fear. Verse number 57. لو يجدون ملجا أو مغارات أو مدخلا لا ولوا عليه وهم يجمعون. If they find any sanctuary, cave, or any place to enter, they would hurry to it in great haste. Ruhul Mani reports that the first verse that is says, spend happy or reluctantly, it will never be accepted from you, was revealed with reference to the hypocrite Jad bin Qais, who was mentioned earlier. He offered to contribute financially to the expedition but was not appeared to participate physically. There are two interpretations for this verse. The first is that Rasulullah ﷺ will not accept the contribution when presented. And the second is that it will be used but will earn no rewards in the hereafter. Indeed, you were a disobedient people. This phrase indicates that the verse applies to all munafiqeen and not specifically to one. The only thing that barred their spending from being accepted was that they disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. Without Iman, no deed is accepted, even though people feign to be mu'mineen. Further describing the munafiqeen, Allah says, they perform their salah lazily. They are even reluctant to perform salah, which is the most important pillar of Islam. They treat it as if it were a burden to them. Their reluctance is expressed by the fact that they are late for salah, do not perform the postures correctly, and complete their salah with hastily. Hazrat Ans radiallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is the salah of hypocrite that he waits until the sun turns yellow and is posed between the horns of shaitan. He then gets up and performs 4 pecks on the ground, narrated by Muslim. Continuing with their description, Allah says that they spent only reluctantly in charity. Once a person has no iman and conviction in the hereafter, he will not be happy to part with their wealth because he does not anticipate any rewards for spending in Allah's way. So do not let their wealth and their children impress you. Allah did not grant them these favors because He is pleased with them. On the contrary, Allah intends to punish them with these in His worldly life. Their wealth becomes a punishment for them because they have to undergo various difficulties in acquiring it. Then, too, they are forced to spend this in zakah and jihad, although they do not want to. Their punishment with regard to their children is that they also have to endure many difficulties in bringing up their children and anticipate no reward for this from Allah. It also happens that their children are killed in jihad, which adds to their grief since they do not believe in the great merits of martyrdom, and that their souls depart while they are disbelievers. They did not believe in Allah and His Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam despite being present with Him, listening to the Quran and witnessing His miracles. Since they are unaffected even this, Allah decided not to grant them guidance and that they should die as kuffar. In this way, they would be further subjected to the torments of the hereafter. They swear by Allah that they are definitely with you. A true mu'min never has to swear to these things since all are aware of their true condition. However, the Mu'mineen could sense the hypocrisy in the hearts of the Munafiqeen from their behavior. For this reason, they are compelled to repeatedly convince the Muslims of their loyalty by taking oaths. Allah declares their lie by saying, "They are not with you, but they are a people in fear." They feared that they would receive the treatment meted out to the mushrikeen and the Jews if they did not appear to be Muslims. They could go nowhere since Medina had become an Islamic state. They therefore swore to the Muslims to be safe and reap the benefits that all the other Muslims received. This was because of their godly nature. Allah then tells the Muslims that the Munafiqeen remained with them only because they had no other choice. Otherwise, if they find any sanctuary, cave, or any place to enter, they would hurry to it in great haste. For this reason, the Muslims should pay no heed to these people and should not maintain any relations with them. Now, verse number 58. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَلْمِزُوكَ فِي الصَّدَقَاتِ فَإِنْ أُوتُوا مِنْهَا رَزُوا وَإِنْ لَمْ يَأْتُوا مِنْهَا إِذَا هُمْ يَسْخَطُونَ. Translation: Of them are those who ridicule you concerning charity. If they are given from it, they are pleased, and if they are not given, they become annoyed. Verse number 59. وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ رَضُوا مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ سَيُؤْتِينَا اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ وَرَسُولُهُ إِنَّا إِلَى اللَّهِ رَاغِبُونَ. If only they were pleased with what Allah and His Messenger gave them and said, "Allah suffice for us. Soon Allah and His Messenger shall grant us from His grace. Surely we are enthusiastic about Allah." Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu ta'ala reports that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was distributing the booty of Hunayn, Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu ta'ala heard a person saying, "This is such a distribution in which Allah's pleasure is not intended." When he reported the incident to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the later said, "May Allah have mercy on Musa alayhi salam. He was troubled more than this, but he was patient." On this occasion, the first of the above verses was revealed, that is, of them are those who ridicule you concerning charity. Those who live only to acquire the things of this world do not want to be blessed with demands, since they would then have no sacrifice some portion of their worldly possessions in good deeds. Allah says about them, if they are given from it charity, they are pleased, and if they are not given, they become annoyed. Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "May the slave of the dinar, the dirham, and both be destroyed. If he is given something, he is pleased. and when he is not given anything, he becomes annoyed. May such a person be destroyed and fall on his face. If a thorn has to prick him, may Allah never remove it. Narrated by Bukhari. If only they were pleased with what Allah and His Messenger gave them and said, Allah suffice for us, soon Allah and His Messenger shall grant us from His grace. Surely we are enthusiastic about Allah. The Mu'min is satisfied with whatever little he receives from Allah, while the Munafiqeen are not. They do not understand the meaning of blessing in wealth and think that they have received nothing. Verse number 60. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم. Alms are only for the poor, the destitute, the orphans, those appointed to collect them, those whose hearts have to be reconciled for the freedom of slaves, for those in debt for the path of Allah, and for the travelers. This is ordained by Allah. Allah is all knowing, the wise. Alms is the verse referred to zakah, and the plural has been used because zakat is due on various types of wealth, that is gold, silver, merchandise, livestock, etc. The verse stipulates the word only, meaning that zakat is restricted to these categories of people and cannot be given to any other. When someone asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for some zakat money, he replied, Allah has not accepted the decision of any Nabi or non-Nabi with regard to zakah. Allah has Himself stipulated 8 categories of recipients for zakat. If you fall into any of these categories, only then may you receive zakat, narrated by Mishkat, page 161. The first group of recipients mentioned are the fuqara, the poor. Jurists have written that these are those people have some wealth with them, but this wealth is not equal to the nisab. The second category of the recipients are the masakin, the destitute, who are those who have absolutely no wealth. With regard to receiving zakat, the fuqara and the masakin are on par. However, if a person bequests that his wealth be given to the fuqara, only the fuqara may receive this, not the masakin. Although it will be permissible for the masakin to beg from people, the fuqara may not do so as long as they have enough food to sustain them for a day and enough clothing to conceal their private parts. It was once asked of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam what was necessary for a person to possess for begging not to be permissible for him. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, when a person possesses enough food to sustain him for the morning and evening, he cannot beg. Narrated Abu Dawud, volume 1, page 230. The masakin may beg only to satisfy their temporary needs when they receive something. They will no longer remain masakin and will not be allowed to beg anymore. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, zakat money is not lawful for the rich nor for those who are healthy and strong. According to another narration, he says, there is no share in zakat for those who are wealthy, and for those healthy people who are able to earn, narrated by Mishkat, page 161. The next recipient mentioned is the orphans, when they are also needy or destitute. Thereafter, Allah mentions those appointed to collect them, the person employed by the Amir al-Mu'mineen to collect zakat, and all those who work under him may be paid from the zakat a salary that is proportionate to their effort. The only restriction is that they cannot be paid more than half of the total amount collected. Those whose hearts have been reconciled. These were those leaders of tribes whom Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave zakat so that they accept Islam together with their tribes. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam also gives zakat to such people so that the Muslims may be saved from their evil. He also gave zakat to Muslims who had newly entered the fold of Islam so that they could become firm in their belief. These are the three types of people who fall in this category according to Allama Ibn Hammam Rahimullah in his book Fathul Qadir. Certain ulama maintain that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never gave zakat to any kafir. According to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimullah, all the three types of people in this category cannot be given zakat anymore because Allah had granted Islam domains and Islam no longer requires these people. According to other jurists, they may still be given from zakat with certain conditions. For the freedom of slaves, when a slave has contracted an agreement with his master that he will be freed when he pays a stipulated amount of money, then this slave is called a mukatab. This muqaddam may be given money from the zakat funds to facilitate his payment. For those in debt, this refers to those people who are unable to pay their debts. They may be given from zakat funds even though others may be owing them when they cannot collect these debts. Fatah Fatawa Alamgiri, Volume 1, page 188, mentions that it will be better to give zakat to people in debt rather than to the average poor person. The book Bahrul Raik mentions that zakat should be given to the person who, after settling his debts, will not have money equivalent to the nisab. Therefore, zakat cannot be given to those people who will be left with more than the nisab after settling their debts. For the path of Allah. According to Imam Abu Yusuf Rahmullah, this refers to those people who had left their homes for jihad and were separated from the rest of the army. They may be given zakat if they do not have the means to sustain themselves and to reach their homes. Imam Muhammad Rahimullah mentions that it refers to those who have left for Hajj and are separated from their companions without any means of eating and returning home. Other jurists have written that it refers to needy students of Deen. Some are of opinion that all persons engaged in the service of Deen may be given zakat as long as they are needy. Narrated by Bahrul Raik, Volume 2, page 260. And for the travelers. When travelers do not have the means to return home, they may be given zakat to facilitate their return, even though they may have sufficient wealth at home. They should be given only that much which will suffice for their return journey. Zakat cannot be given to a person when he possesses any wealth that exceeds the amount of any nisab. It cannot also be given to him if he possesses any articles that are beyond his needs and can be sold to obtain money exceeding nisab. Zakat cannot be given to people belonging to the tribe of the Banu Hashim, termed the Sadat, plural of Sayyid, even though they may be needy. The Banu Hashim are the descendants of Hazrat Ali, Abbas, Jafar, Aqil, and Haris bin Abdul Muttalib. If they are needy, they should be assisted with wealth that is not from zakat. Many people are too stingy to spend from the remaining 97.5% of their wealth left for after zakat and wish to assist the sadat from their zakat contribution. This is not permissible. It is disrespectful to these people, and the zakat of such people will not be discharged thereby. Some members of the Sadat are dissatisfied with the fact that they cannot receive zakat. However, they should realize that their great forefather Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had prescribed this so that they do not consume the filth of people's wealth. Herein lies their honor, which is much more superior than the measly pittance of worldly wealth. It will be better to give zakat to one's own needy relatives than to give to others, since this will earn a double reward. One reward will be for zakat and the other will be for the maintenance of family ties. They do not have to be told that the money is from zakat, but the giver should make the intention within his heart. However, it should be bore in mind that zakat may not be given to one's ascendants, maternal and paternal and descendants. Zakat, another rule is zakat cannot be given to one's spouse. And the other rule is a person who possesses wealth in excess of the nisab is considered to be rich by the Sharia. Although he may not be liable to pay zakat, he will have to pay the sadaqatul fitr and also slaughter an animal on the day of Eid ul Azha. If he has the means, people generally think that zakat can be given to the person who is not liable to pay zakat. This is not always the case. If a person possesses any gold equal to or more than 87.48 grams or silver equal to and more than 612.38 grams, then he has to pay zakat on these if they were in this possession for you for one lunar year. He will also have to pay zakah when the sum of the two or the two added to come to some merchandise is equal to or in excess of the value of 612.36 gram silver. Cash equal to or in excess of the value of 612.36 gram of silver will be necessary to necessitate the payment of zakat. One will have paid zakat if one only has gold. This is equal to or in excess of 87.48 grams of gold even though one does not possess any cash at all. The nisab of gold and silver is derived from the hadith. They stipulate that the nisab of gold is 20 mithqal and that of silver is 200 dirhams. The belief of people is incorrect who they think that if a person possesses more than the nisab, he does not have to pay for the extra. When a person possesses the amount of nisab, he will have to pay zakah on all the wealth for which zakat is first. Few rules are written here. One, zakat must also be paid on crops and produce harvested, the details of which can be found in the books of jurisprudence. This was discussed in Surah Baqarah, verse number 267. Under the commentary of the verse, O you who believe, spend of the good things that you have earned and of that which we produce for you from the earth. Zakat will also be paid on livestock. 2. It is permissible for zakat to be given to a madrasa and distributed among needy students as pocket money. The needy students may also be given food bought with zakat money, but the food should be made their property so that they can do as they please with it. It is not permissible for zakat to be used to purchase books for a library, even if needy students borrow them. In a similar manner, beds, bedding, clothing, etc., cannot be purchased for needy students with zakat money when these are merely loaned to them. The condition for zakat to be duly discharged is that the recipient is made the owner of the item or the money. A separate collection will have to be made if these items are required for the students. Third rule is zakat. Zakat money may not be used to pay for medical expenses of a person when he is not made the owner of the money first. Zakat cannot be used to purchase medicines for a hospital and given to needy person who require them. It should be seen so too that these medicines are not given to the people who are not deserving of zakat. If a needy person requests that his bad debts be settled, it will be correct for zakat money to be paid directly to his creditor. However, if a money was paid to the creditor without the request of the debtor, then the zakat will not be discharged, though the debt will be settled. Rule number 6. It is not permissible for a creditor, creditor to discharge his zakah by writing off the debt of a needy debtor. He may give the zakat money to the debtor and then take it back from him in settlement of the debt. He may take the money back by force because the creditor has the right to claim his debt at any time. 7. It is necessary that a person intends zakat when handing the money over to the poor person. If this intention is not safe, his zakat will not be discharged. However, if someone gradually takes out money specifically for zakat and keeps it separate from his own money, he does not have to make the intentions when actually paying out the zakat to the needy. The original intention at the time of separating the money will suffice. Eighth rule is zakat cannot be given to a poor person in remuneration of his services. The only exception is those appointed to collect them. 9. Besides those appointed to collect them, zakat cannot be given to a person who possesses wealth equal to the nisab. Although the purpose of the for the path of Allah is very general and broad, the ulama have restricted it to refer to only those as mentioned before, mujahideen and hajis who have been separated from their companions. A question has been posed that if only these two types of person are meant by people who are in path of Allah, it is not necessary to mention them separately because they already fall into the ambit of fuqara. Although they may have their wealth at home, they are really fuqara when receiving the zakat. Therefore, in reality, there should have only been 7 categories of persons in the list of recipients. Why did Allah specifically mention people in the path of Allah as a separate group of recipients? The reply is that these two types of people have been mentioned specifically because they deserve special attention when zakat is being distributed. This is so because the mujahid is striving to uphold Allah's deen and the hajis is Allah's guest. They are therefore not ordinary fuqara. There are many people today who feel that they know more about the Quran and Hadith than the pious predecessors who have elucidated these rulings. These people feel since the implication of for the path of Allah in general, they can utilize zakah funds for the construction of masajid, hospitals, roads, wells, bridges, madrasas, etc. They say it will be permissible to render burial services and ambulance facilities to the public with zakat funds, since all of these are also for the path of Allah. The opinion of these people hold no weight when compared to that of the mujahideen, muhaddithin, mufassirin, and the jurist, who had an in-depth knowledge of the Quran and the Hadith. These new jurists do not even know any Arabic, nor they can recite properly a single surah of the Quran. In their ignorance, they think that zakah can be given to whomsoever they please. This is against the practice and ruling of all the schools of jurisprudence. If zakat could be given to any person, the Quran would not have restricted the number of the recipients to eight. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam dispatched Hazrat Muad bin Jabal raziyallahu ta'ala as governor to Yemen, he told him, "Really, Allah has ordained zakat on the people. It is taken from the wealthy and returned to the poor." Narrated by Mishkat, page 115. This hadith makes it clear that zakat must be given to the poor and needy, not to anyone whom one pleases. Few more rules are written here. I'll read it out for you. 1. Zakat should be given after the expiry of a lunar year, when 1/4 part, 2.5% of the wealth must be given. Rule 2. The zakat of a person should be given to the poor and needy in his vicinity. However, if the people of another region are in greater needs or they are related to them, it will be correct for him to send the money to them instead. Third, some people collect zakat from others so that they may perform Hajj and receive zakat as well. This is incorrect because these collectors already possesses the nisab and Hajj is not even farz upon them in the first place. This is indeed a shameful practice. Another rule is some people carry out the grossly incorrect action of collecting zakat for wedding ceremonies. A mere proposal and acceptance can contract a marriage when two witnesses are present. There is no need for elaborate weddings function, which are contrary to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After the inexpensive marriage contract, the girl's parents give her what they can afford and leave her with her husband. The marriage is as simple as this and is doing so none are convinced in any way. Neither the father of the girl nor the daughter can be given zakat if they possess the nisab. Even if they do not possess the nisab, they will be surely have that much when a few people donate to them. Another rule is it is common practice for zakat to be collected and then placed in a bank account where it lies dormant for some time. People do not realize that the zakat of all the donors will not be discharged until the money reaches the poor. These monies must be paid as soon as possible because the possibility always exists that the bank can go insolvent on their assets frozen for some reason. In these and other possible circumstances, the zakat of many people will be left unpaid. Extreme caution should be exercised when giving zakat to beggars because many of them possesses the nisab and cannot be given zakat. Bukhari volume 1 page 200 reports Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as having said, a poor person is not he who goes begging from door to door, from whom one who or two more morsels of food or dates will suffice. The truly destitute person is the one who can find nothing for himself. None knows of his conditions so that alms may be given to him. Neither he is prepared to beg. This hadith makes it clear that the truly deserving recipients of zakat have to be searched for. Just like salah is first, zakat is the same. A person has to educate himself with regard to his finer injunctions and rulings. He has to know precisely how to calculate zakat, exactly who are the rightful recipients and when to give it to them. Verse number 61. وَمِنْهُمُ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ النَّبِيَّ وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ أُذُنٌ قُلْ أُذُنُ خَيْرٍ لَكُمْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَيُؤْمِنُ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Translation of verse number 61 is, of them there are those who harass the messenger saying, he is but all ears. Tell them, he is all ears of good for you. He believes in Allah, believes in the believers, and is a mercy to those of you who believe. There is a painful punishment for those who harass the messenger. Now verse number 62. يَحْلِفُونَ بِاللَّهِ لَكُمْ لِيَرْزُوكُمْ وَاللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يَرْزُوهُ إِنْ كَانُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. They swear by Allah for you, so as to please you. Allah and His Messenger are more worthy of pleasing if you are believers. أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّهُ مَنْ يُحَادِدِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَأَنَّ اللَّهَ نَارَ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدًا فِيهَا ذَلِكَ الْخِزْيُ الْعَظِيمُ. Do they not know that whoever opposes Allah and His Messenger, for him shall be the fire of Jahannam, wherein he shall abide forever. This is the extreme disgrace. The Munafiqeen used to say many things that were hurtful to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when they were told that their statements hurt the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said that it mattered not, since they would easily be able to please and convince him. They said, "He is but all ears." That is, he would listen to anyone they said and accept it. They would then take oaths that they did not say anything like the message that reached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that it was all a lie. Ruhul Mani narrates from Muhammad bin Ishaq Rahmullah that a particular munafiq by the name of Nabtil bin Haris, who was hideous in appearance, used to sit in the gathering of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and convey the news to the other munafiqeen, informing them what the Muslims were saying about them. When he was advised not to behave in this manner, he said about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he is but all ears. He just listens and does not think further. Allah replies by saying, "Tell them, He is all ears of good for you." That is, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam only listens to and accept the truth. They are fooled by thinking that he accepts what they have to say. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was merely honoring them by accepting their excuses so that they would not be disgraced. He believes in Allah, believes in the believers. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew who the true mu'mineen were and only listened to and accepted what they had to say, and is a mercy to those of you who believe. The author of Ruhul Mani writes that this part of the verse refers to the Munafiqeen and not to the true Mu'mineen. He interprets it to mean that because of his compassion and mercy, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave a hearing to the Munafiqeen who feigned to the believers. It was because of his mercy that he did not expose them and reveal their true identities. There is a painful punishment for those who harass the messenger. This verse does not stipulate the punishment they will receive. They were punished in this world when in humiliation. They were banned from attending the gatherings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thereafter, in the hereafter, they will be subjected to the terrible tortures reserved for all kuffar. They swear by Allah for you so as to please you. To maintain their relationship with the Muslims, the Munafiqeen had to resort to taking oaths so that the Mu'mineen could be reassured of their loyalty. Allah and His Messenger are more worthy of pleasing if you are believers. If they were sincere in their iman, they would have made attempts rather to please Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In doing so, they would have automatically attained the pleasure of the Muslim masses. However, since they were only interested in the world, they directed their efforts only to pleasing those with whom they had to live. They do not know that whoever possesses Allah and His Messenger. For him shall be the fire of Jahannam, wherein he shall abide forever. That is the extreme disgrace. Although they may escape humiliation in this world, they can never escape the disgrace of the hereafter. Wa dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma ighfir li muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.